The country's biggest rail union, meanwhile, rejected President Biden's labor deal, putting the country just weeks away from a potential rail strike. The White House is calling on both sides to come to an agreement. But back in September, President Biden was celebrating what he called a temporary tentative deal based on nothing. Watch.
This agreement is a big win for America and for both, in my view. This is a win for tens of thousands of rail workers and for their dignity and the dignity of their work. It's a recognition of that.
Joining me right now is Americans for Tax Reform President Grover Norquist. Grover, what are your thoughts on a looming strike? You know, when President Biden came out and did this whole press conference talking about this tentative deal, I was very skeptical because I knew that it was right before the midterm elections, and he was basically telling the unions to put a pin in it and let's talk after the elections. He did not want to hear any pushback on a deal before the midterm elections, and what played out after the midterms is pretty much what many of us expected. Your thoughts?
Well, sadly, yes. And a strike will cost about $2 billion a day to the economy.
Wow.
There are 12 different unions here, 7 of which have voted to agree to the agreement, 3 of whom have said no. There's a real question here about what is going to happen going forward. But you're noticing that the president lied to the American people and said there was an agreement when there was none. And there was clearly a don't strike before the election. Don't make me look bad. Strike after the election when it's too late for the American people to do anything about it. There's entirely too much politicization of the federal government, and this is another example.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, the real story here is the impact of a strike on an economy that is already teetering. I mean, sure, we had growth in the last quarter, but most people are expecting some pretty rough hardballs coming at us in 2023. Is that what you look for? Even in the face of a weakening macro story, the White House still wants to raise taxes and push through this climate change agenda. So what can the GOP-controlled House do to lower taxes, fight inflation?
Yeah. Well, here's the good news. We've done this before when Obama was president. We had a Republican House and a Republican House and a Senate that wasn't yet Republican, but they had enough votes to filibuster. One, we do what happened then. We take the Republican tax cut and say, let's make it permanent. Remember what Obama did was for 2 years, he took the Bush tax cuts and continued them for 2 years. And then he made 85% of it permanent. There'll be a similar fight. The Democrats lied to people and said that the tax cut wasn't helpful to middle-income Americans. They're going to have to look at people and vote against continuing the $1,000 per child tax credit, against lower taxes on small businesses. This is going to put them in a very difficult position. I think the Republicans need to focus on expanding IRAs and 401ks for all Americans, taking 529s, which is the tax-deductible savings for education that Obama used for himself but wanted to kill for everybody else, and say, let's make that available now for homeschoolers as well. The Democrats have largely voted against that in the past. And we should index capital gains, something that's passed in one House 3 times in the United States history. Right now, when you pay your capital gains taxes, sell a house, sell land, sell stocks, 40% of that is inflation. And now with Biden's inflation, you're really paying taxes only on inflation. That could be stopped with legislation that Ted Cruz and Warren Davidson of Ohio have put forward.
Well, what about the IRS, Grover? Look, we know that President Biden wants to hire 87,000 new IRS agents, and we also know that Kevin McCarthy says he's going to stop that if and when he becomes the speaker. What should the GOP strategy be to attract as many votes as possible, to even attract moderate Democrat senators like Joe Manchin or Christian Sinema in the Senate? What kind of bills should Republicans be looking at in order to gain as much support as possible in a slim majority, certainly in the House?
Not a penny more until you reform the IRS. This is an IRS that leaked individuals' data, thousands of people's individuals' data, gave it to a left-wing group to use to blackmail people. They say they're investigating it, but they refuse to tell Congress anything that they learned in their investigation. This is the IRS whose labor union, the campaign contributions, go to 100% to the Democrat Party when they make party things. We have a one-party IRS. And
wow.
they support the Democrats financially, and they've been leaking against conservatives. They say, oh, your contributions, they give them to left-wing groups to go attack them and try and do the cancel culture thing. This is a highly politicized structure, and when they got $80 billion, or they expect to get $80 billion to hire 87,000 more people, this is the way the Democrats said to them, you know what, we don't care about any of that. Go ahead and do more of it. The Republicans, I believe, will say, until you clean your act up, no more money to go bother people. And the IRS has said they're not going after rich people. In their own words, they say, we're going after small businesses.
Wow. Catherine, jump in.
How real, your proposals are, of course, wonderful and pro-growth. How realistic do you think adoption of them are, Grover, especially given the fact that we're combating inflation, which is so pernicious and becoming endemic going into 2023?
Well, I think one of the challenges that Biden has is his economy sucks. And he got past the election with he lost the House, but he was damaged in that respect. And again, just as happened with Obama, the Republicans have the power of the purse. They can say, you want the debt ceiling increased? You have to reduce total government spending. We won that fight with Obama. People said that would end the world. It didn't. It saved Americans $2 trillion.
Well, we've got to be tough. We'll see how tough they can be.
Yeah.
Grover, it's great to get your insights as always. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria.